من علم لا ينفع وقلب لا يخشع ونفس لا تشبع ودعاء لا يسمع ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي يا ربي آمين. So today is our last and the third and the last part of the series of Ramadan, inshallah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, within 2 weeks, today is Tuesday, not next Tuesday, the Tuesday after, by Allah's grace, it's Ramadan. Whether it is the second day, whether it is the third day of Ramadan, because there's a possibility it's either Sunday or Monday. So Allah knows whichever He chooses for us. So we have basically about 10 days, 12 days left from Ramadan. What I'm going to do today is actually, since we finished, alhamdulillah, the last 2 weeks, we covered the spirituality and the virtues of Ramadan. I'm going to come to the fiqh part of Ramadan, and you will be so surprised, and you think you know, and we all think we know, and it's the same questions comes in every year. The good news is people ask, and I really feel this way, because people really, I would say, glorify Ramadan. They really worry about their fasting in Ramadan, and they really want to make sure it is right, correct, what Allah wanted me to do. That's beautiful, and that's why these things needs to be memorized. I mean, alhamdulillah, one of the easiest, I think, fiqhi wise, from the obligations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is actually fasting, because it's very simple. It's only two things, and then that's your fast. But still, people, out of their love to Allah, out of their glorifying Ramadan, exactly what this question you just brought in before we start. Why you're asking this question? Because you really want to fast. And it's hard not to fast, and everybody is fasting, the spirituality of Ramadan and all this. So let's start first by simple question. Is fasting Ramadan is an obligation? The answer is absolutely. No question about it. Not a single scholar, and subhanAllah, when you go and look, not a single scholar from the time of Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, including him alayhi salatu wasalam, and the rest up till recent, no one came in and said Ramadan is a choice. In general, Ramadan is absolutely an obligation, and not fasting is a major sin, one of the major sins actually. And there's even different opinion about how big is a major sin, but it's definitely a major sin, and it is one of the pillars of Islam. How do we know that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said this in Surah Al-Baqarah, which you all inshallah know, or you can remember the ayah. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن. Even Allah put the name. The month of Ramadan is the month that the Quran was revealed in it. But then comes the obligation. فَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمُ الشَّهْرَ فَلْيَصُمْ. Whomsoever lived, seen the month, let them, whomsoever seen the month, let them fast the month. That's the obligation. فَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمُ الشَّهْرَ فَلْيَصُمْ. Meaning the person who lived. Shahida mean he saw, he's alive, he know it is Ramadan. فَلْيَصُمْ, that's an order. You need to fast. It's an order. Then came in the same ayah, the person who was sick, the person who was traveling. That's what we are going to talk about. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the option. And then you can do it later on. And the reason for this is because this deen is yusr. This is where the deen is easy. Because you don't want to really push yourself to fast, and it is hard for you, or you're not supposed to fast. So that's number one. For the sunnah, Ramadan fasting became obligation in the second year of Hijrah. So when the Rasul up till he migrated to Medina, fasting was not an obligation. When he came to Medina, second year, it became an obligation. And he fasted 9 Ramadan, 9 Ramadans he fasted, and then he passed away. And then one of the hadiths that the Rasul says, which is narrated by Sayyidina Umar, this deen, Bunya al-Islam, Islam is basically built on 5. Exactly. That's basically very easy. This deen build, so think of it as a home, build on 5. Whereas the 5, you declare that they don't know God but Allah, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, perform salah, you give zakah, and then you fast Ramadan, and then you go to Hajj, if you can do that. This hadith is actually in Bukhari and Muslim, and this is one of the proves from the Sunnah. So the first one was the action of Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam. He did it. He fasted 9 months. And the second one is from what he said alayhi salatu wasalam. Then the timing And when do we fast? From what time to what time? We all know that. From
dawn to dusk.
Exactly, dawn to dusk. And why is that? Because the people will ask you, especially us living in a non-Muslim country, because it is in the Quran. If you go to Surah Al-Baqarah and you go to Ayat, after you read the verse of the obligation of the fasting and the fasting of Shahr Ramadan, Allah brings the timing. And He brings the timing. فَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا حَتَّى يَتَبَيَّنَ لَكُمُ الْخَيْطُ الْأَبْيَضُ مِنَ الْخَيْطِ الْأَسْوَدِ مِنَ الْفَجْرِ. Eat and drink till you see, Allah, the translation is, you see the white line, or the white thread actually, from the black thread. And there's a commentary on it. Basically, it's what we call it these days, and we have, alhamdulillah, all of us, the calendars. It's basically when it's time to stop eating. And ثُمَّ أَتِمُّ الصِّيَامَ إِلَى اللَّيْلِ. That's where it comes. Then keep the fast till the night. The night is actually explained in the Sunnah, and we'll come to it, is when Maghrib time. So timing, so it's basically, I'm not going to eat, I'm not going to drink, and I am not going to have, or the Muslim person will not have a marital relationship, and the time is from that time to that time. Now, two pillars only for fasting, and this is in general. Number one, you have to have the intention. In Ramadan, you have to have the intention the night before. This is the difference between fasting and non-obligatory extra fasting. You can make the sunnah you can make the intention during the day. And except Imam Abu Hanifa, who says the intention has to be before noon. The other school of thought, they say you can do with the intention anytime during the day. Because Rasul ﷺ entered his house and he said, any food? And the wife said, no, we have no food. He said, okay, then I'm fasting. As simple as this. Not in Ramadan. In Ramadan, you have to do it the night before. And there is two ways. Either you do, are you going to say, my intention is I'm going to fast the whole month? You'll have to say it. This is your intention. Once you said this, you don't have to do it every night. But the fact you wake up for suhoor, then that's your intention. Like why you are waking up for suhoor? Because you're fasting. Like when people say, do I have to say the niyyah for salah? Well, you're going to do wudu. Why you're doing wudu? That's your intention. So you have to make the intention, but you don't have to say it. You can do it every night, or you can do it from the beginning of the month. And then you are to stop eating and drinking from certain time. And there is actually the reason of Ramadan, the intention is in the night, because that's the hadith of Rasul ﷺ. He specifically said, if you did not make the intention before Fajr, there's no siyam for Ramadan. So you have to, alhamdulillah, we all, again, you wake up for suhoor, you're fasting. So the first thing is intention. Second rukun, second pillar, only two. This is the easiest one actually. The second one is you're not going to eat and you're not going to drink, and there is no marital relationship in that time period. That is it. So now if I do this and we all do this, and all the Muslims, alhamdulillah, do this, then our fast is correct. And you have to differentiate between two things. My fasting is correct, I'm going to be rewarded, and then there is the extras, where the siyam of the 1.7 billion, let's say 1 billion will fast. What is the difference between them? We'll come to how to beautify your siyam. But in general, if all this 1 billion made the intention and did not eat or drink or had a marital relationship from this, in this time frame, they have performed siyam, meaning when I gonna meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we will meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when He's gonna ask us and we'll read my book. I have performed, I have done my, as we say, my duty. How much He will reward me, it depends how much I've done better than other people, right? So alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, this is clear. I want you always to remember throughout Ramadan, specifically when we get, becomes difficult, it becomes challenging, it becomes not easy, it's a long time, I get thirsty, I get tired, I need to control my temper, I don't have to, I want to make it perfect, so I need to control what I say. Remember this hadith, and I've said it in the last 2 weeks, as-sawmu li wa ana ajzi bih. This really makes it easy for you. Think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying this, and it's a hadith Qudsi. Fasting is for me, for Allah, and I will reward for it. Fasting is for me and I will reward for it. This will make it easier, because that makes this personal relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fasting is for me and I will reward by it. Now, who should fast? This is in general. Who should fast?
Sane,
Adult, sane, meaning in state of mind.
not menstruating.
So, yeah, not menstruating or no blood after delivery. Okay. Number one, Muslim.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. So number one is a Muslim. You cannot tell your friend or your neighbor, well, it's Ramadan, you have to fast. Even if they do, it's not accepted from them. So number one has to be she or he a Muslim. And number two, adult, meaning reach the age of adulthood. Puberty, had her period, or age 15 in most correct opinion. So if your child is 12 or 13, yes, you train them, which we all do, but they don't have to fast, and you don't get so upset when they don't. But at age 15, or if they are reached puberty, or the girl had her period, then it becomes an obligation. And right state of mind, meaning sane, they're not crazy, they are not under general anesthesia, they know where they are sane, absolutely, and not in a state of menstruation, right? And why is that? Walillah alhamd. Because Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam says, رُفِعَ الْقَلَمْ, there is no accountability in three conditions. No accountability in three conditions. This really helps, especially in Ramadan. The person who sleeps till they wake up. When you sleep, you're not accountable. Subhanallah. Number one. And number two, the little or the young or the baby till they become an adult. And the insane till they become sane. So three conditions. Don't look at them and say, why you're not fasting? Young child, person who's not sane, not in the right state of mind, and the person who's sleeping. But the sleeping, for example, in case of, for example, missing Fajr, sleeping not intentionally, somebody went, not usual, but wake up one day late, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them the extra hours. So it's not an obligation as long as I am sleeping. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Now come to the usual. There's a couple of questions, which is very common, and it will answer a lot of questions. So I'm traveling. What should I do? Okay. Right. So number one, the essence, the base of it, because this is very common, especially for us lives in the States. You travel, you go for a weekend. I mean, that's the travel for us. For other people, they cannot do it. But sometimes people throughout their work, they really have to travel, right? And the travel is what? Is more than 83 kilometers than you are traveler. So this can be more than 50 plus. It's almost 57 miles. 57 miles with the intention of traveling. So what should they do? Fast or not fast? It's always the question. To fast or not to fast is the question. The base. Now, don't say what I do and you do. That's different. What does Islam tells me? Like when people ask me, should I fast? I don't say I fast or I don't fast. That's me. What does my religion teaches me? The base that it is a rukhsa. It's a permission not to fast. So don't look at people who are not fasting in travel, and you say, why they're not fasting? MashaAllah, tabarakallah, they are healthy, they are young. The base, the essence, it's a permission. Because Allah specifically said it in the ayah, فَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيضًا أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ. Whomsoever was sick, and he did not define what sickness, subhanAllah, and that's the answer to your question, and he didn't say safar, right? So the essence is, it's a rukhsa. And then you come and see what happened at the time of Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam. So here you go, that's one of the ones I'm looking at. Group of the Sahaba companion traveled with the Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam. And some of them were fasting and some were not fasting. These Sahaba companions, right? Those who fasted did not criticize those who didn't fast. And those who didn't fast did not criticize those who fast. Basically, it is a choice. It's a choice. So you want to take the choice, you don't want to take the choice. However, for the travel, you have to make it up. So some people really come and say, you know what, it's really hard to make up the fast after Ramadan. It's just harder. SubhanAllah, almost all of us say this, right? So in this case, I feel much more easier for me, she or he, when I fast and I'm traveler. Some people say the other way around. They say travel anatomy is very stressful. A lot of people say this. Travel is very stressful. I really cannot. I get very dehydrated. I may get headache, whatever they are. Even if they are traveling from here to Chicago, which is less than 1 hour, it doesn't matter, right? That's the choice they can make. And even they usually teaches you, if traveling, fasting with travel is a discomfort for you, you should not fast. And if it is the other way around, it's better to fast. So again, choice is yours. And this is beauty when you read about Ramadan and all the obligations in it, or all the things that happens with it, a lot of choices. For example, this is a man asked Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, and he said, أَأَصُومُ فِي السَّفَرِ? Do I travel? Do I fast when I'm traveling? And look at the next word. And this man, كَانَ كَثِيرُ الصَّوْمِ. This person used to fast regularly, meaning fasting is not an issue for him, not like he fasts from one Ramadan to the other. So what did you think of Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam answer? This is, and specifically, this man traveled a lot, fasted a lot throughout the year. And he asked him, should I fast in traveling? What was the answer? Exactly.
Like you said,
Absolutely, he gave him the choice. And he said, إن شئت فصم وإن شئت فافطر. If you want, fast. And if you don't want, don't fast. Subhanallah, beauty. This is, I wish we all have this heart where we, you know what, just accept the other people as long as what they are doing is within this, the permission of this deen. So they can fast, alhamdulillah. You cannot. Even sometimes, you see the one family travel together, right? They travel together, the family. And one person can fast, the other one cannot fast. And this is what happened when the Sahaba all traveled together. So it was like, oh, I am fasting, you should fast. No, you have different body than I do. I may not be able to take it. You may be able to take it. Second person who should not fast at all. Who's that?
Jews, weak.
No, absolutely not. It's haram. And if they did it, it's a sin. Yeah, Bismillah. And not the pregnant is a choice also. Huh? And janaba, well, if it's a he can what? He can take the ghusl. You're getting close. No. The woman who's having her period.
Oh,
Of course, yeah, but you didn't tell me.
He did that earlier. So
I know.
thought you
This one, no choice. Absolutely. Because this, subhanAllah, sometimes you see it. Because the same thing is like, it's much easier during Ramadan. It's much harder to make it up later. The answer is absolutely no, and it is actually haram. It's a major sin. All the scholars, from before till now, they said it's not a choice. It's not like the sick person. Pregnant woman is actually like the sick person. It's a choice. But the woman during menstruation and the woman after delivering a baby, because that's even harder. I see this all the time. It's like the whole month I'm not going to fast. I was like, subhanallah. Breastfeed also goes with it. So delivery or breastfeeding. That's you, Habibati, but that doesn't mean everybody. I need you all to know this. It doesn't mean you cannot do, I cannot. I may be. And I could be doing something and you cannot. This is choice. Leave it to people. Not necessarily. Absolutely. It's actually a choice. If she feels tired, then actually she should. Yani I always, when my patients ask me, I said, it is you. You know your body. Don't push it. Because a lot of us push ourselves because, again, it is Ramadan and it's so hard not to do it. But don't push your body. So the only one that is absolutely haram is the woman during her menstruation. Now, scenarios in this, and I'm going to quickly go this because that's the usual questions. So she fasted from 4:30 a.m., right? 7:35, she got her period. So there's only about 20 minutes left for iftar. she needs to break her fast, and that day is not accepted. She has to make it up. Yep, that's how it is. Even that's, you know what you know what I tell. Absolutely. Just to listen, ladies. Remember, if you remember 3 weeks ago when I first started, if you remember, what does Siyam teaches me and you? Not only sabr, it's submission to the will of Allah. Remember when I told you why it is 4:30, not 5 a.m.? And why it is I eat at, for example, today, 7:55, not 7:56. Why?
No, because we just
That what the point I'm trying to make, Ramadan, or actually fasting in general, teaches you and me, submit to the will of Allah. This is how He said it. So when the woman, which is, I feel for her, subhanAllah, it's all the 16 hours, but your ibadah, this is what we all have to remember. My act of worship that Allah will reward me is when I do what He wants me, not what I like. This is hard for us, but this is how it makes it easy. Because I turn to Allah and says, Ya Allah, you know I want to fast. And you know I fasted 16 hours. And the intention, everything, she didn't plan it, has no control over it, right? So here you are. And if she is clean 1 minute before Fajr, so if she is a woman who, for example, sees the white discharge 1 minute before Fajr, then it becomes an obligation. Even if she had no time to do the ghusl, she can do the ghusl after Fajr. So the two extremes are there, okay? So, however, if you are not fasting because of menstruation, it's not an obligation, but the ulama teaches us, scholars, that it is out of adab, etiquette with Allah, and out of glorifying the month, and for the feeling of everyone else, don't publicly eat. But you need to eat something, and you cannot fast. So even if I drink a cup of water, right, in the morning, but don't eat publicly. They say out of respect to the month, out of respect to the people who are, and glorifying the month, and respect to the people. Now, when do we make the missed days? That's another common question. Very common question, because after Ramadan comes Shawwal, and then Shawwal is the month where we are highly recommended to fast the 6 days. So assume the woman has 10 days during Ramadan, and then there is 6 days of Shawwal, not including the day of Eid. So there's another 16 days she's going to fast in Shawwal. When does she make it up? Anyone knows? Yeah. Anytime. Number one, the essence, again, the base, you can make it anytime. Because Sayyidah Aisha, she used to make it, and in Sha'ban. Is it recommended? Now remember this. Is it recommended to make it sooner in case what? So the woman dies, right? And then this is something, some scholar tells you have to make it up. Somebody, the person has to make it up. So it's recommended you make it up as soon as you can, but you don't have to.
You said that they can make it up the whole year?
Anytime during the year, absolutely. Just before next Ramadan, right? Because Sayyidah Aisha made it up in Sha'ban. For those who usually do Shawwal, the 6 days, and do making up, then the question comes in, which one you do it first? Do you do the obligation and then the sunnah of the 6 months, the 6 days of Shawwal? Do you make the 6 days first? Then you make what what you are making up from Ramadan. There's different opinions. Some scholars tells you making up the fard, the obligation, comes before the sunnah. The other group says no, because the 6 days of Shawwal is actually limited time. It's limited time. She only has the month of Shawwal to do it. So if she has a 10 days of period, 10 days of fasting to do, right? And then assume she's going to get her period in Shawwal 10 days. The days of Eid, what's left? Right? So you really have to so I always, when I get this question very common, I say, you know what? Each woman has individual case. You see your case, you see your life, you see your situation, your home, your husband, and decide if you can do them, the obligation first, and then the Shawwal, all in the month of Shawwal, Perfect. But if you cannot, don't worry about this. Do the Shawwal because it's limited time, and make up the rest as the time comes in.
Last year you gave 3 opinions, so I have your notes.
Yeah, exactly. That's what, yeah, because I didn't, that last year I had a lot of details.
Yeah.
Now, the pregnant and the nursing woman, that's the other common question. Should the pregnant woman fast? Should she break her fast? So which one? She shouldn't fast at all. Ya Rabbi. Zubaydah, ليه كده? Why? No. What I will usually tell patients, it's a choice. Absolutely, it's a choice. However, same as a sick person, same like somebody has a headache. And by the way, sickness doesn't have to be something major. It's somebody has a headache. Wake up in the morning with a maybe beginning of a flu, not feeling well, right? This is sickness. I said this in the beginning. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said sickness, مَا كَانَ مَرِيضًا. So the pregnant woman, Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas actually regarded her as the sick person. It's a choice. Unless her pregnancy is high risk. The physician says, like I always tell my patients, some patients, I said, you cannot fast. You cannot, because your condition will get worse or it's going to affect the baby. That's a different story. But in a healthy pregnant woman, the choice is hers. She can, without difficulty, without affecting the pregnancy, that's fine. Have I seen pregnant ladies fast all month of Ramadan? Yes, I do. Absolutely, I have. Have I seen pregnant ladies after 2 days, she cannot? Absolutely, I've seen. So it's up to them. Same thing with the nursing. Now come the question, should she make it up? Should she pay? Should she make it up and pay? What's the kaffara? What's the atonement for not fasting in Ramadan for the pregnant lady? And there is a 3 opinion here, depending on the school of thought. If, and that's what Imam Abu Hanifa, he said she makes it up only, at all. Imam Malik, he says she pays only. And Imam Ahmad and Imam Shafi'i, he said she does both. Both, yeah. Make it up and pay money. So again, it depends who you are, what do you do, and which school of thought you follow. So easy. Can she take Burkentol tablets, the woman? Can the woman take Burkentol tablets so she does not get her period in Ramadan? No, at all. Alhamdulillah, you're not fuqaha. You make things very hard for people. What is the answer usually? If it does not harm her, it does not harm her, because there's sometimes Burkentol tablets can harm the woman in certain cases. If there is for sure no harm on the woman, absolutely she can. She can, and she doesn't want to get her period. I mean, a lot of people says, I'm going to get my period in the last 10 days. I took time off, I took vacation because I really want to focus on my last 10 days. I always say to her, it's allowed. You want to be even higher level and submit to the will of Allah, that's even better. But if you cannot, you want to, you can use Burkentol tablets as long as it does not harm you. You can use it to delay your period, to get it later on. Who are allowed not to fast? Now remember the words I'm saying, this is fiqh. Who are allowed? It's okay if you're not. Allowed not to fast. Number 1. Allowed not to fast. Exactly. Pregnant, breastfeeding, and the traveler. Who? 2 more. No, not sane. Sane, that's not the obligation to start with. Not in the jail. It depends what do they do. If they work, hard work, long hours, that it's really difficult for them. Imagine people who are in constructions, right? And their day starts from like 6 a.m. till 3. And then imagine sometimes, I mean, last week we had a day where there was, it actually today, I think, was not today, yesterday was 82. So imagine this person outside. So they say long, hard work, long hours, they are allowed not to fast. Make it up later on. Yes. If you come to December, here, especially for us, the days of the day will be very short. So they can. Not they have to, but it is allowed. And old age people. Chronic disease and old age people. So somebody 75, somebody 80, they are healthy, but it's harder for them. You don't push it, even if they want. We're coming to that. We're coming to that. Don't rush. I hope I have enough time to cover this. I'm sorry.
What about the doctor?
I'm coming to all this. I'm coming this, but I'm missing some because of the time. So profession, if people, so whatever work you do, profession, if it is somebody is in the jihad in the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or they really get exhausted from hunger. They get exhausted from hunger and from thirst. Then they are okay not to fast. Then they can make it up on the days. This is especially in the summer days. I mean, still this year for us is still a long day, right? Now I'm gonna come to it because I know what's your questions. What is the things I can do and will not affect my fasting? So remember this: swallow my saliva, absolutely fine. Tasting the food for a need. I'm cooking, I really need, I think I missed, sometimes you're tired. Did I put salt? I didn't, I was like, oh, you can, that's no problem. Smelling perfume, that's absolutely fine, right? Having intimate relationship between the husband and the wife, but not the full intimate relationship. For example, kissing between the husband and the wife is allowed as long as it's not going to lead to something more. Also, if they were in a state of janaba, back to you, Ya Yusra, state of janaba, or they were in a state of hayd, where they have to take the ghusl, the Islamic bath, then they can delay it till after Fajr. Now, you have really to think of these situations, right? So the woman wake up, right, at 4 a.m., right, 4 a.m., and she has to prepare food for everybody. If she goes and take the ghusl, then the family will not have their suhoor. And it's one of the sunnah. So she will prepare, Fajr comes in. After Fajr, she goes and take her ghusl. That's absolutely allowed. Taking a bath in general, washing, absolutely, it is fine. Things, and I'm going to specifically say this because this very common questions comes in. Things that will not negate the fasting. So, talking about medicine, eye drops, under the tongue medication. So if you put under the tongue, vaginal exam, vaginal cream, urinary catheter, dental work, mouth gargle, intramuscular, subcutaneous injections. IV is a different story. Okay? Oxygen therapy, general anesthesia. It does not break the fast, but the person will be not sane. But the anesthesia itself, okay? Skin creams, ointments, right? Endoscopy, biopsy, okay? Unintentional vomiting, that's very common, right? Intentional vomiting, negate the fasting. But unintentional, subhanAllah, you passed and then you had a smell, and then sometimes people from the smell, they get this. That's absolutely fine. What are the things that will beautify my fasting? So we agreed. I made my intention. Alhamdulillah, I refrain from food and drink and the marital relation from this time to this time, dawn to dusk. What is the things I am going to do? And we have to compete in these to make my fast better than yours, or your fast better than me. What is the things? And I'm going to give it to you again because of the time. Number one, hasten your iftar. Break your fast quickly. Don't delay it. That's actually very much sunnah. There's a hadith about that, right? Number two, make dua at the moment you break your fast and as you are breaking your fast. That dua is accepted. ثلاثة لا ترد دعوتهم. 3 human beings, their supplication will not be rejected, meaning it will be given right away. And one of them is the fasting person, right? Control your anger, your manners. What do you speak? What do you say? Which is, Anna, to me, this is the hardest one for people. It's actually not the food and the drink. It's changing in Ramadan. That's why when I first started, I asked you, are you ready? It's not about coffee. It's not about the decaf. SubhanAllah, 1 day or 2 or 3, and then everyone gets used to it. People who smoke heavily, SubhanAllah, they can do it. It's the control, the habit, the talk, the look. What do we feel? What do we think? These things, because we don't think this will do anything to our fasting. SubhanAllah. Suhoor. Don't say I cannot eat at 4 a.m. Even if it's a sip of water, even if it's a piece of date, anything, not because only it will make my fasting easy. It's a sunnah. This is what I'm trying to keep reminding myself and everybody. It will beautify my fast. This is how I think of fasting. You're baking a cake. So you bake the cake. Cake is ready. This is everybody. This is the 1 billion people around the world baked the cake. And everyone will bring the cake to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Give the cake to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is the difference? What I am going to put on the cake. Right? So imagine when you go and buy a cake, first thing we do, subhanAllah, we look at the look. So here you are. I hasten my iftar. I for sure do my suhoor. I do my dua. I absolutely do my best, struggle to beautify me during fasting. My tongue, my feeling, my temper, what I say, all this. Reading Quran. Now, look at the Quran as a strawberry. Right? The more you put strawberry, the more beautiful the cake is. So look at it this way. And we talked about this last week. Reading the Quran, understanding, reviewing, all beauty. Charity. And charity, not necessarily only zakah. Alhamdulillah. In fact, I am with the opinion that we need to give zakah not only in Ramadan. Because there's times in the year where it's dry. It's like desert. But be charitable. Charitable meaning you give even $1 a day. Charitable when you come for Taraweeh and give your place to somebody else. Charitable is when you cook, send it to someone else, right? Donate to the masjid here, alhamdulillah, or to the jail. They wanted the date. Be charitable. And remember last week I told you this, Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam was more charitable. That he was always charitable, but was much more during Ramadan. And one of the sunan of Ramadan is i'tikaf. So for the woman, if she cannot do it in the masjid, and I fully understand, and you cannot do the whole 10 days, absolutely understandable. Can you do one day? Can you do the odd nights? Can you do maybe only the weekend? But don't look and say, you know what, i'tikaf is only for the men. No. And exactly, can I do it in the house? Yes, you can. Yes, you can, especially if it's preferably in the actual i'tikaf. Some scholars will tell you i'tikaf is in the masjid because Allah said it in the ayah, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوهُنَّ وَأَنْتُمْ عَاكِفُونَ فِي الْمَسَاجِدِ. But also the scholar says the i'tikaf itself is not only the i'tikaf, it's what you get out of the i'tikaf. Is to be disconnected from all the dunyas and what basically distract us. Can I do this in the house? Yes, you can. Many scholars, they say yes. Hanafi school actually says it's only in the house. Yes.
I was, I've been reading, and of course, so
yes.
Most of the scholars, the aqwa qawl is to do in the masjid, even for the.
Well, that's what I'm telling you. It's people will say there's a school of thought. A group of scholars will tell you there is no i'tikaf outside the masjid because Allah said it in the Quran. Now scholars came in and looked at, for example, Imam Abu Hanifa in the Hanafi school of thought that the woman don't go to the masjid, right? And she prays in her house. What about the woman who really don't go to the masjid? What about the woman there is no masjid in her, and she lives in this small town? We have to be really realistic. There is no, how about there is a masjid, but they don't allow the woman to do i'tikaf. There's a lot of masajid do that. They don't allow women to do i'tikaf for whatever the reason. I'm assuming this year maybe because of security, because you have to live your day in life. So what should I do? ما لا يدرك كله لا يترك جله. If I cannot do it all, I'm not going to leave it all. By the way, doing i'tikaf in the house is much harder. It is much harder. It's much difficult because this is your comfort zone. It's like, let's go to the kitchen and get a whatever. No, you're in i'tikaf. You sit in that. Yeah, that's what it is. You sit in that place. You do nothing. You rest. You read Quran. You do dua. You do salah. That's i'tikaf. So much harder, and the phone is right there, or somebody will knock on your door. So honestly, practically, it is much harder. So don't forget these ones. Yes, somebody was asking.
If a woman come for Taraweeh and stay till Fajr, can she have niyyah?
This is also different opinion. Can you do part of that i'tikaf? Different opinion. People said Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam did it for 10 days. 10 days. And you do not leave the masjid unless for a need. right? Some scholars allowed it, and they said, you know what, you can do the i'tikaf for a short period of time. However, I will say this, i'tikaf in the masajid that these days we see it, this is not the i'tikaf of Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam. I'tikaf in the masjid is not bringing your phone and you're taking a picture and you put it on Instagram, I'm an i'tikaf. That's not i'tikaf. Right? Unfortunately. Or you're texting all your family, or you're in that group and checking your own message. That's not i'tikaf. I'tikaf by itself is actually a complete disconnection from the world, and you're focusing on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's your khalwa. It's your only, I will say, the allowed socially khalwa, and no one will say something is in the last 10 days of Ramadan. So I always tell women, whole 10 days is not easy for women. I mean, you have a lot of responsibility, and Allah knows our ability. But can I do one day? Can I do the odd nights again? Can I do? But if I'm going to do, or a few hours in the masjid, but I will do it the right way. Because doing it the right way is the problem. It's not really not easy to do that. Now, one of the sunan, which a lot of us forget, is suwak. Suwak. Miswak. It's a sunnah before. And in fasting, actually, it is really, I tried that. Someone taught me this and I tried it. If you do not use toothbrush, especially, let's assume you are doing proper i'tikaf in the masjid, right? And you cannot go, there's not available. This happens usually in the haram. And if you do your miswak, I can't tell you how healthy it is for your teeth. Subhanallah. Literally, you don't feel anything. You don't even need to do flossing. So do that. The best way also to remind yourself, put a miswak on your sajjada. Put it next to your sajjada. Where do you pray normally? Put it next to you. So once you see it, because the problem is we don't remember it, because we don't have the habit. So put it next to your sajjada, the place where you pray. Put one there, so you will remember. At least do it before every salah, because that's what he did. لولا أشق على أمتي لأمرتهم بالسواك قبل كل صلاة. If it was not hard for my ummah, I would have ordered them to do siwak before every salah. Absolutely. Yes. So don't forget this. Be generous. Disliked action. So don't beautify your cake and then suddenly the cake will be messed up. Don't mess up. Mess up meaning the beauty. If not what will negate, but the beauty. What is it? Number one, don't gargle too much. And don't taste the food too much. Allah knows. Right? And gargle, especially when you're in the bathroom and when you're taking a shower and it's very hot, don't keep putting this, especially or when you're doing wudu. Allah knows. So these are disliked. And it's just like you put a strawberry or you put a chocolate and then you took it out. This is how you will look at it. Also, what will completely negate the fast? What will ruin the cake? Eat and drink intentionally. If you ate and drank unintentionally, Allah made you remember. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made you, fed you, as they say. Man akala, the meaning of whomsoever eat and drink without knowing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made him eat and drink. And continue your fast. Your fast is valid. If you did it out of forgetfulness, but intentionally, it will break the fast. Of course, marital relationship, it will. Okay? Allahu Akbar. Vomiting intentionally, as I said just right now. Menstruation, we talked about that. Nifas, so she delivers. She was fasting, then she delivers. Then it will negate it, right? If you made the intention to break the fast is gone. So if you're, for example, you had, let's say, a headache, and you say, you know what, I can't do this. But you didn't eat yet. So I'm going to go and break my fast. The fast is gone. Yeah, because remember the two arkan, yes? Because the two arkan, the two pillars we said about fasting is what? Is the niyyah. You broke the niyyah. You changed your niyyah. You made the niyyah on fasting. Now you made the niyyah during the day that I'm not going to fast. So be careful. Once you say, I'm going, and not saying necessarily, but in here, then it is actually, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not at all if somebody rejects Islam. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from this, Ya Rabbi, Ameen. Now, I want to, alhamdulillah, because I wanted to leave some questions. It's only 10 days left. And the Sahaba used to do 6 months before Ramadan. They pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make them live to Ramadan. Yes, there is only 10 days, but I can die tomorrow. Any one of us can die tomorrow, if not tonight. So we keep making this dua, Allahumma ballighna Ramadan. Ya Allah, make us live till we see Ramadan. And then I will add to it, Ya Allah, make us live not only to see Ramadan, but make us live throughout Ramadan. So at least as much as good deeds we can collect. And then after Ramadan, subhanallah, we have to make the dua that Allah accept from us. Dua Sayyidina Ibrahim, ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم تب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. Because we don't know if Allah accept. As I said, Allah accept the action, but what kind of a cake I gave Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Subhanallah, burned, right? Nice, beautiful, amazing. No one else have ever done it at all. No one ever had baked like a cake like that. This is the cake that I'm so proud. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. 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 الله أكبر. الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وبارك على محمد وعلى آل إبراهيم اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us live till we see Ramadan. Ya Rabbi Ameen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this Ramadan, as the sister just said when we start, the best ever. That I feel it is the best ever. I think we need to live the meaning of the room. Jazakumullah khair. Any question?
I have one.
Yes, please do.
Some people, some masjids change the hours for Fajr. Like if we follow the phone every 11 months.
And that's true. That's a very good question, because the time of Fajr, if you look at the times of the Fajr in the calendar, right, there's a difference. If you look at, even now, like you follow yours, look at the other one, there's a difference, right? So which one is right? We don't know. So what do? All the masajid. For the suhoor, they take the most cautious one. So they take the earlier one. And for the fajr, they take the latest one. For cautious. Did you get my point? So assume in the 5 calendars, the earliest suhoor time ends, say 4:30, right? And the latest fajr start is 5:15. So there's about 45 minutes difference. And you see this in London especially, because it's amazing the differences. So the scholar says to be on the safe side, be always cautious. Take the earliest suhoor, because if you ate after that, then you did not fast. And when Fajr time, you cannot pray unless the Fajr time starts. So you take that. So that's why they change it, out of precaution. What should I do? Follow your masjid. Don't make life easy. Allah is not going to ask me, since I am not the imam of the masjid, He's not going to ask me why you fasted. I fasted with my masjid. And that's what all the ulama say. Same thing, and alhamdulillah, you asked this because Allah made me remember. What day we start fasting? Do we start with the seeing of the hilal, with the moon, or we start with the calculation? And then all this different opinion, and Mecca started yesterday, or Pakistan started this day, or Bosnia. What is the answer? I don't live in Mecca. I don't live in Bosnia. You pray, you fast with your local, with your masjid, and you follow your masjid. That's it. Easy, easy. Jazakumullahu khairan. We just have to go for it. Yes.
Like you're fasting.
Yes.
And in the middle of the day, you feel that you are too